Figure Evolution Showcase. So let's check it out. Okay, so you may be thinking, because a while ago I did a evolution of the Stormtrooper, so you may be thinking, why am I doing it again? Well, this is actually not just a Stormtrooper. This is actually the evolution of, Luke Skywalker and his Stormtrooper disguise. And now I don't have every single version they made because there's the newest vintage collection one. I don't have it. I don't have the older vintage collection one. And so I'm missing a few, but this is the general ones I have, and most of these I have are kind of get the point across. So we'll start with the small one there in the front, and then we'll work our way up from vintage all the way to the biggest one there. So let's get started. Starting with this one right here, which I'm not sure what this is called. I've had these for a while because this came in a 2-pack with a Han Solo, and I also got a Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker in this, and a Darth Vader, and Princess Leia, I believe, and so this is the Luke Skywalker one. I have some Han Solo Stormtroopers too, but that'll be a video for another day. But today we're looking at Luke Skywalker. So, like I said, I don't know what this is called, but it's got a removable helmet, so you got Luke Skywalker underneath there, and as you can see, it doesn't really look like Mark Hamill. I mean, it's kind of there, I guess, but I mean, it's kind of a kid's toy, so it's not going to be super accurate. But you see, he's got the E11 blaster in one hand, and he's a little bbit dirty too. He needs to be cleaned. He's been displayed for a while, so I need to clean him up a little bit. But as you can see, helmet goes right on. It doesn't really cover his chin though, so that's kind of a little bit of an issue there. Because so if you look at it this way, his chin's kind of hanging out. But when you look at it like this, it's not that bad. It gets the point across. But, no articulation whatsoever. It's just all one solid piece. But still pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with these when I was a kid. Okay, so the next one right here is one I don't actually have in my collection um, because these are kind of expensive now, and thankfully my daddy still had his from when he was a kid, so he run me to borrow this for this review. So thank you for that. And as you can see, this is the Power of the Force. Not to be confused with Power of the Force 2. That's a totally different line. This was the first Power of the Force. So, which, both of those were just called Power of the Force, but fans call the other one Power of the Force 2 to differentiate, both lines from each other. But this was the original Power of the Force line from, the early 80s. So, this is the Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper disguise. He's got a removable helmet, of course, and you have, Luke Skywalker head, doesn't really look like Mark Hamill, but, back then, it was just kind of generic, You got the standard, E11 blaster that came with other Stormtroopers. Yeah, this figure did come with a coin. Unfortunately, we don't actually have the coin because them coins are kind of expensive. And I think my daddy bought this used a long time ago, so I didn't actually have the coin when he got it. But as you can see, helmet goes on. Helmet's kind of overly large, as you can see. And here he is compared to the normal Luke Skywalker. You move the helmet, I just dropped his blaster. So, completely different head. This helmet will not fit on this head. So that's probably why they changed it, as you can see. But the head is quite a bit smaller too. And so there's this blaster. This blaster is very generic. They reuse these with a bunch of figures. This figure doesn't really want to hold this very good either. So as you see, it wants to turn around in his hand. So let's see where that there he is. Here he is compared to the normal Stormtrooper, which in the movie, Luke is supposed to be shorter than a Stormtrooper, but this figure is actually quite a bit taller than the Stormtrooper, so that kind of contradicts the movie there a little bit. But and this doesn't appear to have any reused parts from the normal Stormtrooper either, from what I can tell. The chest maybe, but then the head doesn't articulate on this, so I don't think this is any reused parts. So that's actually kind of neat. Back in the day, they especially real early on, they reused a lot of parts. So that's kind of neat. They didn't reuse the legs and the arms. They kind of gave Luke his own arms and legs. So that's actually pretty neat. So continue on with Power of the Force 2. Like I said, Power of the Force and Power of the Force 2 are two different lines. So we had the first Power of the Force version right here. So now we have the Power of the Force 2 version here, as you can see. So, quite a bit of difference. And, a lot of the early Power of the Force 2 figures, were very big and bulky and beefed out. The later ones, they toned it down more, proportionally accurate, to what they were in the movie. But these real early ones were way out of proportion. So this is, Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper disguise. They made Han Solo. Unfortunately, I don't have this one, Han Solo on this one, but you know, this is actually my second figure of this. I had this figure as a kid, and I lost it somehow, and I don't know what happened to it. So I ended up buying another one, and I still have this one. And I have a lot of good memories with this figure too. Even the first one I had too. I really enjoyed these. Even though they're way out of proportion, but they're still fun toys to play with. But as you can see, it's got an oversized E11 blaster. Pretty big. Removable helmet. Always a nice touch. It's got the black collar, which they, like I said in my other review, they should have used for that Imperial Guard disguise Luke Skywalker. Helmet goes on pretty good. Just the point across. So here he is compared to the standard Stormtrooper, which doesn't appear. Maybe the chest is reused, but mostly for the most part, it looks like it's not any reused parts from what I can tell. Maybe the arms, the left arm looks the same, but the right arm is in a different angle, so it's not the same. The legs obviously aren't the same, but the Stormtrooper, the blaster, the E11, as you can see, the Stormtrooper one's got this kind of two lines on the handle, which Luke's does not, so that's a little bit different there. So pretty cool stuff here. Yeah, I also forgot to mention, here's the Stormtrooper Luke Skywalker compared to the Farm Boy Luke Skywalker from the Power of the Force 2 line, which with this figure you can see what I mean by the overly beefed up bodies, but because Luke looks like he's been working out, like he's trying to get bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger. But as you can see, I'm glad they did reuse this head, because it made him more accurate in the movie, and which they did reuse this head on the Imperial Guard version, which was probably not the best choice, but I mean it worked. But as you see, good, okay likeness to Mark Hamill, not the best, but a lot better than the vintage version. Now for this version, which I'm not entirely for sure if this is the Saga collection or the Vintage collection version. I mean, I think they may reuse parts and stuff, so it could be either one. But they may be wondering, why this has blue shading and red lenses and the red mouthpiece, and that's because this version is based off the comic book appearance of Luke in the Stormtrooper disguise, and which I have that comic book somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at, but because this came in a comic 2-pack with a Grand Moff Tarkin figure, which is over there on my shelf, I believe. But I'm not 100% sure because I don't have every Star Wars figure I have outside around room, so it might not be over there. But so you can see removable helmet, of course, which this is a rubberized helmet. You have a okay likeness to Mark Hamill, not the best, but it's kind of there. It's got pretty good paint details in the hair and stuff too. The helmet is rubberized, so that kind of helps not scratch up the paint and stuff. Although it is kind of wears the nose flat a little bit right there. Looks like he's kind of got a broke nose, but which kind of is accurate to real life, because Mark Hamill did have a car wreck, and I think he did break his nose in real life from that wreck. But so I don't have the standard vintage collection version of Farm Boy Luke or anything like that, so I can't show you that. But I can show you this right here, which is not the same generic Stormtrooper as this body mold, but I decided to show it because it's got the same blue shading and red lenses and mouthpiece like this Luke Skywalker. So which because this is from a different line, and this is from like towards the end of the Power of the Force line, where they re-released the New Hope and the original trilogy figures in a much better proportion wise. But when these have a little better articulation too than the first Power of the Force line, but not as good as these. But so you got this with these you have pretty good articulation. So now we are in 6-inch Black Series, which this is the Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper disguise. I have Han Solo, but I'll show it in another video when I do those. But you see, of course, you have the movable helmet, and which is actually a pretty decent likeness to Mark Hamill there, as you can see. And his neck piece is also different than Han Solo. Han Solo just had a shorter pin with the rubber thing around the neck, just kind of put on there. This one actually has a new retooled neck piece, which I actually like better. It makes it look more accurate to the movie. But which this Luke is actually shorter than the Stormtroopers, like in the movies. That's accurate. He's also got the communicator thing, which you can't hold, but that is a piece you could easily drop and lose. So I would advise being very careful with that piece. As you can see, he's got the E11 blaster. So let me put the helmet back on him. So here he is compared to the standard Stormtrooper. which as you can see he is shorter, so that is pretty accurate there. As you can see, this is the older Stormtrooper 2. They released it, Stormtrooper now actually looks way more accurate to the movie, but this was the very first Stormtrooper they actually released. They're actually the Sand Trooper was the first one, and then they done this all white version, which you would think they would have done the all white version first. It's more iconic, but they did the Sand Trooper first, which is the same mold as this, just a sandy paint job. But as you can see, like I said, proper scale. And here he is compared to the later release of the Farm Boy Luke from the Black Series, and which they are the same height, obviously same character, but the head sculpt, move the helmet again, is actually different. They changed the head sculpt up. Why they done that, I don't know. I guess this one uses that new 3D face technology. Maybe that's why they done that. But this one actually has more blonde hair than this one does, which is kind of like a vintage variant. There was a vintage variant that had brown hair and blonde hair, so it's kind of like a neat homage there. Now you can't put the hair on this one, but it's really loose. It's not really meant to go on there, which it's not meant for that figure anyway. So pretty cool. The last one, which you've seen the bottom half of, this is a 12-inch collector series Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper disguise that I think they were made by Kenner. I'm not 100% for sure, but I do have a Han Solo, not the Stormtrooper one, but I have the normal Han Solo, and which if you watch my toy review, I did. You probably seen that, but this is the trash compactor version too. They made a normal all white version, but this is a trash compactor version that has all the black speckles all over the armor and stuff, which is pretty neat. And this figure is a little bit dirty. He needs to be clean. He's been on display for a while, so I need to clean all the dust and top off of him. But you got the removable helmet, which originally had padding in it, but with a lot of play with this figure from my childhood, it all fell out, and stuff. But pretty decent looking helmet too. It's a very big helmet too. It's kind of oversized a little bit, I would think. Which the foam kind of keeps it up a little bit, kind of keeps it from going far down like this. But as you can see, the likeness is okay. This head is based off when he came up out of the water in the trash compactor. So that's why his hair looks all wet and stuck to his head. So it's kind of supposed to be reminiscent of that. And this figure did come with a Dianaga tentacle, which unfortunately I've misplaced that because I don't explain with it because it's wide. It takes a lot of room up. So I don't know exactly where that's at, so I can't show it to you. But it's a pretty awesome figure though. Now this blaster came with Han Solo. I displayed him with this one because I like it better. The one he came with on the back of his belt here had a missile shooting feature, and I lost the missile a long time ago as a kid. So I still have the blaster, so I just put this blaster in its holster back there, which does not want to go through. There we go. And I display him with the Han Solo one because I like the sculpt of that one better. Put the helmet back on. He didn't have the helmet in the trash compactor, but I'm glad they included it. So you can still have a disguised Luke Skywalker. So here's this 12-inch Luke Skywalker compared to the vintage version from the late 70s, and which is actually I actually have 3 of those ones from 78 because I got 2 of them. That's one of them is missing all the stuff except his shirt, and then I got another extra one that's missing his legs. So basically, just parts and stuff. But I have there's one good version right here that's mostly complete. So so you can see, I think they made the Farm Boy version in the collector series they did in the 90s. I don't have that version, but like I said, I do have this vintage one right here, so that's why I chose to compare these two. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over articulation. So both of the Power of the Force 2 versions, have the standard 5 points of articulations. I won't have to go through detail and show you that. So same basic articulation, just new sculpts and stuff. This newer Saga Collection version has like the standard ball joint at the head, hinge at the shoulder there, and a swivel, a single hinge at the elbow, a swivel at the wrist, and good waist articulation there. No waist cut there. It's got a swivel at the leg, a bend at the knee, and a bend and a swivel at the ankle. And the Black Series version has a ball joint at the head, a hinge and a swivel at the shoulder and the bicep, a hinge at the elbow, a swivel and a hinge there at the wrist, good waist articulation there, a hinge at the thigh, a bend at the knee, or a double bend at the knee, it looks like, yep, and a ankle pivot and a ankle hinge. Now this big 12-inch one is going to be hard to articulate because I got it on a doll stand, but and it's big too. So he's got like a a swivel there at the head. He's got, I don't think he's got any ab articulation, but he's got decent arm articulation. And it's hard for me to articulate this without popping the armor bits apart, so that's one reason I'm not moving it too much. But he's got hinges there at the thigh, and I believe a bend at the knee, which is kind of stiff. So that was my, generic, evolution of the Luke Skywalker and Stormtrooper disguise. Now, like I said, I am missing some of them, so I couldn't show you them all, but this is kind of just a basic showing of, different versions throughout time, how, how, it got more accurate, how articulation got better, and different scales they actually made, this character in. So, if you want to see more evolutions like this, give me a thumbs up to help me a lot, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time.